how do the pros play offense in Madden 17? What are you seeing consistently across the board that is making their offenses so good? We talked a little bit about gun bunch. It's obviously the most popular and widespread formation throughout the community.
Yep.
And you have to consider what type of defenses are they going up against.
Right.
Obviously, they're going up against a lot of cover 2, and they're going up against a lot of dollar formations. So, what are they doing on offense, and what adjustments are they making? How are they blocking? I think picking up blitzes is something that separates the good from the great. What do they do? What are they up to?
First and foremost, the one offensive passing concept I would say that the best players in the world, we're talking pros, use, one thing they recognize is corner strike. You're going to be able to find this in just about every single playbook. Some playbooks have it in bunch, some have it in gun normal, some have it in gun empty. In this variety, it's gun trips weak, but the same principles make it good here as they do make it good in all different playbooks.
Yes.
Keep that in mind. We're using the Pittsburgh playbook, but again, corner strike is the passing concept, and what this is really it's a high-low. And what we mean by high-low is if you take a look at both the perimeter of the field here, the left sideline and the right sideline, take a look at Steve Smith and his route. He runs a corner. He starts, and we call them C routes in Madden, right? These are C routes because they literally look like the letter C. And then you have an underneath route, that one here to the halfback west, who runs a table route. And the opposite side, you have Aiken, who runs a flat route. This high-low concept creates a real dilemma for defenses because it forces the defense to put 4 defenders on the perimeter of the field. Most defenses don't have that type of coverage because if you do that, you leave the middle of the field really vulnerable, and or if you do cover all of it, you're typically not going to be rushing anybody.
Pro players much better at attacking the sidelines, whereas new players tend to attack the middle, and that's where defensive players are usering, and it's really hard to throw there. The only time they can really attack the corner is on a corner route, and then it's so obvious. So the better pro players are able to attack the sideline much more effective, and they use routes like this corner strike you see right here.
So what ends up happening is you have to make a read on your opponent's defense. Now, the meta right now is cover 2, typically soft squats, but we'll go over different progressions. So ZFarls, play a hard flat for me.
Okay.
Just to
so
make it really clear.
I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to press Y down on the right stick, and that will make my defenders go into a hard flat, which means they stay down there.
Yes. So what ends up happening is you have to make a read, and the read is called a high-low read. You read one defender on the field, and then wherever that defender goes, you go the opposite place and deliver the ball to the other receiver. So what we're doing with a high-low read is we're going to run 2 players in the same vicinity of the area at different depths, and that's going to cause a problem for the defense because that defender in that area has to make a decision. Do I go to the deep route or do I go to the short route?
And before, he would do different things. He might do one thing, he might go deep, then he might go short. But now I said, hey, hard flat. So he's going to play short, the hard flat, and you can then go deep.
Right. So now if you were to play a cloud flat for me here, Farls, what you're now going to see, same scenario, read the corner, he drifts away, I deliver the ball underneath. It's a much quicker read. You have to see the drift at the snap of the ball. That's your read that you have to get the ball out to the halfback. These table routes are really effective, and part of the reason why is they run out to the flat here like this, and as soon as they hit that table portion where they flatten their route, right there, boom, they kind of get a little bit of a boost, and you get a nice throw where you catch it and you turn upfield really quickly, and you can see that a route with the ball in the 30, we delivered this pass, and he caught this pass not even a yard, maybe a yard past the line of scrimmage, but he catches it, moves upfield, and you can see with a little momentum, we gained about 6 yards on a quick little table route.
Easy throw, and then if they aren't playing the flat, you can pick up 12.
Right.
That's a 12-yard play out of a lot of formations.
So this time now, that corner that was playing the hard flat, and his responsibility was to play the underneath flat pattern. This time, his responsibility in the cloud flat was to play not necessarily play the corner first, but play the deep part of the field first, and then come and collapse on a route that you see here, but that gives you a 6-yard gain. Now, Madden 17 introduced soft squats. Soft squats are a little bit harder to diagnose. They can play kind of both routes pretty well, but your primary read is to go to the flat route again. So just come out and let's see, you should be in soft squats, right?
I reset my play, but I don't think I am.
I do have
Can
Tampa
I call
2.
It regular Tampa 2. Yeah, it's giving me a cloud flat though.
Okay, so let's just show that real quick. I think it's important.
Cover 2 sync.
Yeah.
There it is, A. So let's see if that's the flat. So there's 3 types of flat zones. Last week on TWIM 214, we went over all 3, but we'll show you what each one does here. Obviously, the hard flat is short. There's the soft squat, and the cloud flat backs up a little bit better.
So you can see how he collapsed a little bit quicker.
Still got 5.
That's the difference with the soft squat. The soft squat's kind of best of both worlds, really, and it can cause some problems because you might read that and go, oh, I should throw that there, but you can see how you can kind of throw both routes.
Right.
The soft squat's a little bit more of a
guessing game.
It's harder to read initially, but you can if you wait on this. Like, what happens is you'll throw there because you're like, oh, I thought he was drifting to go to the corner. So you just have to have a really good, crisp initial read. But you can actually complete either one against a soft squat, which is good to know. But overall, soft squat can give you more trouble. It's harder to read and snap the ball.
Knowing how to attack cover 2, super important. Last week we went over cross manning, which is when, defenses do something like this, where they'll man up players across, or they might do this.
Yeah.
So this is something that pro players have to attack. How do they do that? Do they look to, throw across the middle?
Yeah. So what you're going to recognize, the way the pro players play defense is they're going to recognize your routes that you run, that they want to get a man defender on. So it's usually posts and it's usually drags. That helps them take away. The one thing you can do that's really effective at attacking cross-man cover 2 style is use ins and outs specifically to your halfback. So if you were to play cross-man, that's not a good setup that you have there.
Okay.
You would want to cross-man Ryan, put him on Smith. You'd want to cross-man one of your other linebackers, put him on Aiken. Okay. That'd be a better strategy. That's like a true cross-man right there, right? Because you're waiting for Smith to run a post, and you want Aiken on a drag.
Yep.
So a weakness that you have from this is when you put a halfback on an in or out, it's a very delayed pattern. What ends up happening is you don't have a seam route that's in that area that can make a play on that. Typically there's like a hook zone that's in that area, but when you man him up on somebody, you're giving up that entire seam. So there's another way you can take advantage of that as well, and young Kiv does this to perfection. So do that again, man up with those hooks. Let me see you play. All right, so there it is, and now you would use the other linebacker, the other hook zone on the right side. You'd use the other hook zone.
There.
Yeah, and then you'd have some type of 4-man rush or whatever, right?
Right.
So another great way is a halfback vertical out of the backfield. There's no one to defend that. There's nobody in that seam, and he has to catch it and make a play. So those are a couple ways to attack that the pros are attacking these cover 2 cross-man defenses. They're really good. If you're not aware that it's happening to you, it can be really difficult to beat them because you're like, oh, it's cover 2, but why are my guys so you just have to recognize that that's happening to you, and then dink and dunk them, attack them in the seams, because that's where it's really vulnerable.
And then the last thing I think pro players do is they pick up blitz pressure. Now we just basically showed this with the gun bunch, but you have to be ready to pick up any pressure that your offense throws at you. So we'll go with a play like the buck slant that, you'll see nickel blitz 2, you'll see buck slant, you'll see some different dollar variations, but generally a cover 2 with heat is how the real pros do it. So, Gibbs, when the pros come out, how can they be so confident that the pressure is going to get picked up? Just from repetitions? Or?
Because what they do is they go into whether a game mode or they'll go into practice. So here for all base line, pinch your line and crash it out. And you want to slide that blitzing corner out a little bit. Yeah. And then put Martinez on a flat zone and then use the right hook. So that's the main setup from Buck Slant. And Buck Slant is still good. It's not a primary defense use because cover 2 is better that we're finding. But what you need to do, the best players get into the practice mode, they get into game, and then they just try ways to pick it up. So the very first thing that I always recommend is call play action and then go to max protection and then just see, okay, did I pick it up? Do I need to do anything else? And right there, I picked it up. I was able to hang in the pocket, and I delivered an absolute strike down the middle of the field. Should have caught it, but a hit stick, and he dropped it. The next thing I would do is you get the same setup. I would just now try to pick the blitz up without all the same resources. So this time, I'm not going to block the tight end. I want to have him on a drag. So I'm going to, this time, use slide protection left to see if that helps me at all. Does slide protection help? Pick up the pressure. It does. I'm able to hang in the pocket, deliver a strike, possession
catch.
Now
you got an extra receiver, too.
Yep. Now you got an extra receiver. Now the next step after that is, okay, well, what if I, can I get the halfback out on a route? Slide protection. The slide protection, slide left. That's left bumper on the left on the stick, and then flick the line to the right. Will that pick it up? No, it doesn't. So now I know I need to block the halfback slide protection, and that's going to help me pick up the pressure.
Right.
So how do the pros know they're going to pick it up? They have a good gauge. They have a good meter that's going to say, like, okay, I'm 90% sure I'll pick this up when I do this. I'm 70% sure I'll pick it up when I do this. I'm 100% sure I'll pick it up when I do this. And that's something that the pros, what makes them so good is they understand those situations. If you don't understand those situations, that's an area to work on your game. I'm sure you recognize it. I'm sure that you've been in a game and you're like, I can't pick this blitz up. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And when you have that feeling,
run the ball.
Right, you run the ball.
Play action.
But now you're behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And the thing to make sure that you need to understand is there's no like tomfoolery going on here. This is a straight edge man blitz. You're overloading that side. Your job offensively is to block a guy on that side and pick it up. Like, you could block Pitta here, and let's put West out on a route. Okay, now I should feel pretty confident that I'm going to pick that blitz up. And you know what? I picked it up. Hang in the pocket, deliver a strike. Boom.
Yeah. And then, you showed corner strike earlier, but, some of these gun bunch have corner strike, so you're running similar concepts across the board. I mean, between mesh, which is drags across the middle, which is why people need to cross man, and then between some seam throws, which you just showed deep there, and then the sideline with corner strike, you're attacking all the parts of the field.
Yeah.
You're picking up pressure. You're feeling confident. You're working on practice mode. That's about it. That's all. I mean, that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Like Gibbs said, there's no tomfoolery. It's just that those players are that good and they're that consistent, and they run 15 plays, and they run those 15 plays to perfection because
and
they mastered it.
Let's take it a step further. Like, let's not forget, like, while they're focusing on picking up the pressure, like, picking up the pressure is second nature to them. Like, it's like, okay, I know I got to do this to pick up the pressure, and I'm going to pick it up. You then focus on, okay, what are the routes behind it? Like, what are the best plays now to get me into position to make a play against the blitz?
Now that I've picked it up, how can I get even deeper?
Like, for example, we're telling you to call this play PA post. And I guarantee someone in this chat's going to run this play tonight and go, they told me to call PA post and all my problems will be solved. Well, no, you have to do a couple specific things off it to make it better. One's to block the halfback. The other is you got to look at Pitta's route. Flat routes can be really good against specific style defenses, but they can also be the worst route in the game because it doesn't give you a quick option.
Right.
Because that Pitta he's selling out to that one area of the field, and that's the only read you have is an initial, is he open or is he not, and that's it. This drag, you have multiple points you can throw it. I can throw it initially if it's open. I can let him run into space and then deliver it when he gets to the right sideline. So the drag gives you another option. And when you look at this play, you have a flow with Pitta and Smith that give you multiple options underneath. So if I were to run this play and you were to run after Pitta, that's going to then open up the route to Smith to open up because you are clearing that out, and then that opens that up behind it. So you have multiple routes at multiple levels. Then you play a high-low concept with this route because now you have two underneath options right over the middle of the field, but then I run a deep post behind it. So then that says to your opponent, should they protect underneath with a user or should they bail out and go to the deep post?
Right.
Okay, let's take it a step further. What happens when I wait on this play? What happens when I wait and I let the drag get over to the right? He becomes a flat. Yes, right. I got picked up, but he becomes a flat route on that side. That's going to open up the corner on the opposite side. So now you have a high-low concept over the middle of the field at the snap of the ball. You now have a high-low concept as the play develops with the corner. If you look at this, look at Farls. Look at the route concept. I'm going to clear out the Smith route.
Okay.
Okay. Look at the routes that we have here to Pitta and then Wallace. What does that look like to you?
It almost looks like corner strike. Like it looks like the flat in the corner. Because, yes, Pitt is not on that side and he's technically on a drag, but by the time he gets over there,
yes,
it looks like a
flat. This is an impromptu corner strike. So that is the name of the game when you start looking at, well, why are the pros the pros? They're only running one play. They might run this PA post 40% of the time, but if you don't think that they have multiple setups that they're running to attack different things or do different things, like that's what makes them the best player. I saw a question in the chat earlier and it said, well, how come I see some of the best players, they only run one defensive play? They do run one defensive play the majority of the time until their opponent takes them out of it. And then they also are making other adjustments off it. They're dropping guys in different zones. They're manning guys up. So they're doing a lot of different things. It's really hard to play at the highest level and only do one thing and never change.
Like, yeah, you wouldn't be there.
You get toasted. You wouldn't win. You're not going to last.
Yeah.
You can't just go to a tournament and go, I only run inside zone and I only run cover 3. That's it. Like at some point, you're gonna meet your match and you're gonna be gone.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Good answer to that question. Let's keep going through the mailbag here on This Week in Madden. Show 215. Thank you guys for the follow on the channel. We appreciate you guys tuning in every Wednesday night at 8